In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look here at a very back and forth, very volatile pattern ahead that is going to feature severe weather and also winter weather for many different areas. It is going to be all over the place. We do have a lot of cold air coming in around Thanksgiving, and pretty much after that, there will be periodic, really large cooldowns as we descend into the winter, which is right next door. We're getting very, very close to winter here on December 1st. Before we dive into things, I am still very sick. I still sound pretty off. It's been pretty rough, but I've really loved chatting with you guys in our Discord server. I know I keep talking about it every day, but I just encourage you guys to use the QR code up there or the link in our description or pinned comment down below and join that discussion. I think around 100 of you joined yesterday, which just made me so happy. And while I'm just sick and stuck doing nothing, it's been so fun to get to talk about the weather with you guys. Every single model run that comes out tracking winter storms, and you guys are just the best. Be sure to join in on the discussion. It's just been a whole lot of fun. And there's a lot of stuff to do in the server. I've set up so many things, so go check it out today. Let's dive into it, and we're looking at the 3 to 4 week temperature outlook here from the National Weather Service. And this did come out 2 days ago, but for those of you that didn't get to see yesterday's video, I just wanted to include this here so that you guys could see it. And we could see overall a colder northwest, a warmer southwest, a colder north central and a warmer south central, and then a warmer southeast and a colder northeast. So really, the north is colder than normal for the north, and the south is warmer than normal for the south. This creates a lot more contrast because we know the south is usually warmer and the north is usually colder, but when the cold gets colder and the warm gets warmer, it's just creating a larger and larger difference between those air masses, and that is why we're going to see such volatile storms, major storms rolling through. We have severe weather coming up, actually the next few days we're going to talk about throughout this video as well, and that has been a big point in our Discord server, as well as those winter storms. Just been chatting so much with you guys. Let's take a look here at the upcoming pattern as far as the European model sees it, and right now, we do have this low developing across the deeper south. We do see thunderstorms throughout Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. We'll look at the live radar towards the end of the video where we do actually have thunderstorms sparking up right now. We also have quite a bit of showery, both in the form of rain and snowfall happening up there in the northwest. And there has been some snowfall happening in New England throughout the day today. Lots and lots of videos I've been seeing of the snowfall up there. Looks really beautiful. For tomorrow, we see that severe weather transition more so towards East Texas, East Oklahoma, into Arkansas, Louisiana, even Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri. This is going to be a multi-day event. We do see the Northern Rockies seeing some snowfall as well. Still haven't seen that major cool down roll in. And then for Tuesday, which I think could be another big severe weather day, we see a lot of areas here looking at potential impacts from Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Virginia. It's not really known yet how far northward that extent of potential thunderstorms and severe weather will go, but it very well could travel even further north than that, or it could be a little bit more exclusive for areas further south. It's going to depend, and for severe weather, these things change really, really quickly, so that's why typically you get a lot better information for severe weather like the day before it's happening or the day of, because there's so many moving pieces. We do see a bit of a winter storm impacting the north central states, and it's funny, this is the area that, again, a week ago we really specified would be the area to watch for snow systems, and sure enough, these models are really going to concur with that. Basically, from the east of the Rockies are going to get their fair share, but a particular area to watch is going to be east of the Rockies for the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes. Really, my area I've been pinpointing, and it's still the way that I feel today. Looking towards Wednesday, we see that snowfall transitions to more of the Great Lakes. We see this low now over the Michigan area, most of the UP of Michigan here. So on the cold side of the storm, we could see snowfall for Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP of Michigan. Still perhaps some showers or thunderstorms along the eastern seaboard for Wednesday as it's kind of coming to a close. We do see mountainous snowfall throughout the Rockies and Northwest here. Moving towards Thursday on the 27th, we can see this is when our full-blown Arctic blast is basically fully moved in here for Thanksgiving. If you're in the central states, especially the north central, or in the eastern states here, you are going to be dealing with severe cold for the day on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday the 27th. And for the Great Lakes, tons and tons and tons of lake effect snow happening. And these snow squalls could extend well into Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, maybe even to parts of New England. That's another thing, that these models that we look at are pretty low resolution compared to what the radar actually ends up looking like. So a lot of details get missed out on, and there could be snow squalls. Oftentimes they do travel really far away from the lakes. So we're going to be watching for that. Eastern Canada, same thing. And then the Northwest here dealing with a storm system as well. But overall, temperatures aside, it's a pretty nice Thanksgiving, unless you're in the Great Lakes. That is going to be disastrous if you're anywhere in these areas. It depends where the band's set up, but again, that's another thing that can't really be predicted too well very far out. So prepare for disruptions in that area, as well as parts of, if you happen to be in the Northern Rockies or Northern Cascades, there will be snowfall, but not many people live up there. Friday is still cold, the 28th, a lot of the same, still the lake effect snow continuing. We see more of it actually reaching further eastward from the lakes as well by this point. Some snow showers for the northern plains and Midwest. Again, it's going to be quite wintry up there a lot of the time here in the upcoming pattern. And then for Saturday the 29th, nothing changes. We see a major system developing nearby Colorado. We see the northern Rockies, northern plains seeing a lot of heavy snowfall, and even parts of the Midwest beginning to get snowfall here for Saturday on the 29th. Going to be curious to see if that moves into Michigan for that the game. That's going to be crazy if that occurred. But for sure by Sunday morning, we see snowfall for Michigan. All that rain snow line, because you're on the east side of the storm, there isn't a huge low or anything, but hypothetically speaking, there is more of a warm front impact happening here. So as that continues to rise northward, so does that rain snow line. The opposite is true on the cold end of the storm, the west end of the storm, because this is where we have a cold front. So this colder air is actually getting pulled further southward. That's how these rain snow line events operate. You know, if you're on the warm front side of things, typically that line is either going to be stationary or moving northward. The cold front side, that is either going to be progressing south or eastward or staying stationary as well. Cold front has a little bit more tendency to be on the move. Looking towards the day on Sunday, we see that rain snow line reaches well up into Wisconsin and Michigan. So this event starts as a wintry weather event. It transitions into something that's a lot less wintry with time. The specific details like that, though, rain snow line, timing, exact temperatures, can change. We're still around 7 days out from this, so certainly a lot of details can change with that. Keep in mind. We see another severe weather event starting up, though. Forgot to mention this. Saturday the 29th, another severe weather event going underneath this whole wintry system for Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Louisiana. Is it November, guys, or is it springtime? I can't really tell lately because there's just been severe weather event after severe weather event. Sunday, we don't really miss a beat. I mean, maybe getting worse here with some of these severe weather impacts underneath. Again, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois. Really, really rolling here. And then for Monday, we see another event more so for the Deep South. This is the same event. I don't know why I worded it that way, but Louisiana, Arkansas, eastward through the Deep South, through Tennessee and Kentucky, and up into the Appalachian Mountain Range. Potential severe weather happening there. It does reach the eastern seaboard eventually as we get a miniature cool down here for the east around that first week of December, the 2nd, 3rd. But it's important to note the southeast ridge is flexing. We see a warmer west and we see a trough, but the southeast ridge is keeping things a little lifted for the east coast. You might remember how the pattern's been for the last few weeks, and really the southeast ridge has struggled, and especially if you look back towards early November into October, the east coast was tending to be actually colder than the more inland areas. So this is very much so the opposite of what we had dealt with for a lot of the fall. We do get a full-blown cooldown again here for Friday the 5th. So again, we are back and forth with these major cooldowns and warmer patterns. And even that southeast ridge that I keep talking about isn't all the time. It does have a tendency to pop up here on these models in the upcoming pattern, but it is not constant. And with this event, we go right back to the lake effect snowfall happening, at least according to this current model projection. We have precipitation moving into the deep south central states. So perhaps more severe weather. Again, this is like the third event popping up on this model run for some time in early December. And that one moves across the deep south as well into the southeast. And then we end up with a cooler pattern. It is pretty zonal with the flow, which just means mostly directly west to east. There is no real troughs and ridges here, at least no major ones. But it is a colder version of that because of that polar vortex disruption. Pretty much there's just more cold air for everyone in this instance, and we do see a lot of Rocky Mountain and Cascade Mountain snowfall starting back up and more lake effect snowfall. So if you're picking up on the theme here, it's snow systems for the north central states, it's severe weather events for the south central and southeastern states, and then it's lake effect snowfall. That is the biggest trends I'm seeing from these models currently. Looking at the GFS model run, this one's a little bit actually more recent because the GFS does full 18Z runs. So this is actually coming as of this afternoon and evening. And I want to mostly track these winter storms. We get a similar northern plains, upper Midwest clipper system here that moves across the north central, then up. And then that gives way to our colder air, our Arctic air that moves into the east for Thanksgiving. Similarly, we end up with some snowfall, lake effect snowfall that lasts for days. And then we get this north central states snowfall going for a lot of the plains, Midwest, Great Lakes. It's a little further south in this instance, and we even get a northeastern event here. As we keep going, we get more severe weather in the deep south and southeast, and then we get another bit of snowfall there for the Midwest and Great Lakes. And then we get more cold air on the way at times. We get a tropical system. We talked about that. It's pretty unlikely. I will say, though, I said it yesterday that, this is just the GFS being the GFS. It's not impossible, and I never say things are impossible in the weather, but there's a lot of shear. That's going to be the main problem, and as we descend into the winter, typically there is going to be more shear, but the Gulf and the Caribbean is not too cold for tropical weather to occur. And I don't want to, overhype something that's probably not going to happen, but I just want to point that out that this is not 100% impossible. There's a very, very slim chance that we could see some sort of minor, still very interesting, but minor tropical activity take place. That would be interesting, to say the least, and something that would catch people off guard. And another thought, I was thinking about this today, the 2025 hurricane season is officially ended. That is over. And we have not started the 2026 hurricane season, so this would be a fully out-of-season event. Pretty crazy stuff. And we actually end the model run with warmer in the west, colder in the east. Look here, more lake effect snowfall happening after this major low rolls through. Again, I just really want to preface here, guys, that potential tropical activity, whatever, insanely unlikely. Insanely unlikely. Just not impossible. Just want to point that out. Nothing is really. Looking at the total precipitation, looking at the northwest, we do have quite a bit of precipitation. They average very, very high, though, for this time of year, so this still might be below average, even though it's some of the highest in the nation. We actually see a lot of the southwest getting some above average amounts as this atmospheric river starts to get going again. We get a lot of moisture, again, moving through the south central and deep south, and that's where we get a lot of our severe weather in here. We get a lot more of our wintry weather up there to the north. Looking at the anomalies, a lot of your middle of the nation is above average, and a lot of the two coasts is going to be below average, with the exception of the southwest. Looking at the total snowfall in the European model, plenty for the mountainous west. That's no surprise. That's going to be every single model run from now through March, probably. But notice the northern plains, upper Midwest, Great Lakes, and then interior northeast, all pretty much flourishing here as far as snowfall, especially the northern plains and upper Midwest compared to normal. The lakes are also rolling. We have a ton of snowfall there, so this is just an overall really active look. The GFS model, in comparison, is a little further south here with some of this snowfall for the plains, Midwest, Great Lakes, and Ohio Valley. Even on this one, we see it further south, and the GFS model does have a bias towards being a little too far to the south, and I always say that carefully because even though it has a tendency to be too far to the south and it ends up trending northward, it's not every time, because if it was every time, then we would know for a fact, right, that this is too far south, but we don't, because sometimes the GFS model is the furthest south, and sometimes it's right to think that. That's why we can't completely rule it out. But this model is a little heavier with the amounts, and it is a little further south with the amounts, but it is the same idea in general. And when I play them back and forth, I mean, you'll see it. It's just a few ticks further southward with all the snowfall in the upcoming pattern, a little bit more active with it, but both are targeting the plains, Midwest, Great Lakes is the main thing, especially the northern half of those regions. Temperature-wise, we're a little warmer right now along the east. Little cooler along the immediate east coast here over the next few days for the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Then we get this really, really violent southeast ridge for Tuesday, Wednesday, and that's why we have the thunderstorm severe weather chance in here, is these really elevated temperatures right before we see our Arctic air move in. It's coming from the Arctic. That's why I call it the Arctic. It's not going to be the largest cooldown in the world. Okay, this is 10 to 15 degrees below normal in the greens. That is a significant cooldown. It's not like earth-shattering. So don't expect this to be like literally, the biggest news story of the year or anything. This is a pretty standard but pretty significant cooldown. We see these multiple times a year, but they are those heavy hitters. It is going to be cold, don't get me wrong. It's just don't expect, like, again, earth-shattering cold. We see that linger around through the weekend. As we approach the beginning of December, we actually get another little flex of that southeast ridge, this one more intense in this instance. Keep in mind, we have precipitation rolling through around this similar point, and this is again what's going to enable unusual out-of-season severe weather to take place. It's another thing that happens every year, but this is just one of those setups that's going to allow for that to happen. Not the most common thing in the world. And then we get another little southeast ridge flex before we get a bigger cool down there at some point during the first week of December. And it looks like actually a third one's on the way. So it is pretty back and forth. The GFS model here, we're going to get pretty good agreement. Large cool down around Thanksgiving, and it lingers a little bit afterwards. Flex of the southeast ridge, another big cool down, another flex of the southeast ridge, another cool down, another flex of the southeast ridge, and then another cool down. So up and down and up and down and up and down. You can kind of get the point here. Now, the Ensemble models is the important thing. These have stayed true, and honestly, today's European and GFS model runs actually agree a lot more with these, and that's typically what you're going to see. The Ensemble models have 20 to 30 plus members, and they actually all are a little bit different, and they take the mean average of it. So think of it like how like a Senate would work, right? Where it's like you need all the members, you're taking the mean average. I guess it's not exactly how that works, but when you get multiple opinions, oftentimes things tend to work a lot better, especially with more speculative long-range things. So a lot of the time we're going to look at the Ensemble models. We're going to see a pretty concrete plan that doesn't like flip all over the place from run to run. And then a lot of the times, if let's say this is the European Ensemble model, let's say the European model disagreed with it, there is a better chance than not that the European model is going to end up basically folding to what the Ensemble thinks, because it's one opinion versus, again, 20 to 30. That's why it's important to look at these. And we've seen that happen here. I think the European model versus yesterday has folded a lot more to what the Ensembles are thinking, which is cold for the North Central, cold for the Northeast, with a bit of a deep South, warmer area, as well as a West that is pretty neutral, but maybe a little bit more people dealing with warmth out there. The GFS Ensemble is quite similar. It's a little different compared to yesterday. The main difference here is that it's not a flat area of warmth in the deep South. We actually see a little bit more of like a upward motion as you head eastward, with more of a southeast ridge look in general, and a little bit colder for the central as opposed to these eastern areas, but it's still cooler for the mid-Atlantic and northeast in this instance. Now again, let's talk about the severe weather real quickly. This is for today, so this runs through the overnight into tomorrow morning. We have a general thunderstorm risk there in the lighter green, where we do expect general thunderstorms to take place. And we've been having weird weather, like the other day, it might have been yesterday. I've been a little fuzzy-brained as I've been sick, but in Missouri, we actually had a severe warned storm. It had a rotation. It was really intense, and it was outside of even the general thunderstorm risk area. So you want to take these seriously. These are amazing forecasts 9 times out of 10, but when it comes to severe weather, it's very unpredictable. So if you know there's a chance of thunderstorms, even if you don't, still, it's always important to pay attention to this stuff, guys. This is dangerous weather. It's important to pay attention. I always urge people to do that. But even in the general thunderstorm risk area, you can get severe weather. They don't think there's going to be severe weather there, but they don't know there's not going to be. So please pay attention. The darker green is your level 1 marginal risk, where they do expect isolated severe weather to occur. And then the yellow area there for Texas is your level 2 slight risk, where we expect more scattered severe weather to take place. As we transition to tomorrow, Monday the 24th, into the morning of Tuesday the 25th, it's really important to note these don't run from 12 to 12. They run from the morning hour to the next morning. So it's always portraying the day time temperatures and then the overnight ahead. So this is for Monday into the overnight into Tuesday. We, again, have a general thunderstorm risk area. Again, a marginal risk, and again, a slight risk here for parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Probably the worst of the 2 days here on day 2. Definitely more populated. Can't say for certain, though. And then for Tuesday, I think this day could get upgraded to a slight risk, honestly. We have a general thunderstorm risk for a lot of the southeast, a marginal risk there for a lot of the deep south, and I think we could get a slight risk plopped in there. Oftentimes, if it's like a 3-day event like this, they're probably going to want to see how day 1 and 2 go. And then if they're worse than expected, they'll probably upgrade day 3. But if they're a little bit less intense than expected, they might keep day 3 at a marginal risk. That's kind of how I would see it going. And remember that southeast ridge is what's making this all possible. It's funny, this is actually shaped just like our southeast ridges. So these warmer areas are where thunderstorms are possible. Warm, humid air, sustainable for thunderstorm activity. Quickly, let's take a look at your current radar, because we do actually have a very dynamic system here located over the south central states, where we could just see this line of thunderstorms all over the place here for Oklahoma and Texas mostly, but also Kansas up there. We do have a few mesoscale discussions in here for potential severe weather, so really looking bad. We do have some Rocky Mountain snowfall that you can see for Colorado and New Mexico. And then as we move to the northwest, there's some passing showers, mostly rainfall, but if it is high elevation, it's probably snowfall. And then again, those snow and rain showers up in the northeast are still taking place here, so we can see some snow squalls just to the southeast of this low up there in Canada, taking place across parts of New England. With all that being said, be sure to subscribe, guys. I upload every single day, even when I'm sick, apparently. So hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we do upload, and also like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.